Warhammer Age of Sigmar Tempestfall, originally released for PC VR November 17th, 2021, and now for the Quest 2 on May 19th, 2022, by publisher and developer Carbon Studio. You can check out my full review of the single-player campaign for the Rift. Today, I'll be reviewing the Storm Trials mode on the Quest. Thanks to Carbon Studio for the review key. The Storm Trials mode is a roguelite experience which adds more replay value and a whole new element to an already good game. I was never a fan of the roguelike genre, but things have changed. Storm Trials has to be the best roguelite experience I've ever had. To do things over in a continuous loop was never my thing, unless I'm purposefully creating a constructive new habit. But this roguelike or light nod to reincarnation thing, where you die over and over until you get strong enough to complete your objective, never quite grabbed me. Until now. On startup, you're presented with various options to suit your playstyle and level of comfort in VR. After going through these, you're given a pretty intuitive tutorial, different from what I remember having in the Rift version. After reacclimating myself with the controls, which were pretty straightforward to begin with, I was all set to tackle this new experience. The Storm Trials is still in beta, so my expectations were low, but so far, the only real flaw I've encountered was entering the menu section and having to turn around because the actual menu was behind me. Not sure what that was about. Before beginning the trials, you start in a hub area. At first, things are pretty bare bones. Not much you can do. There are 3 weapons you can choose from, but only one will be available at first. The Tempest Blade, which you have the Storm Stave, and my personal favorite, the Ether Stave. Each weapon is upgradable. You're able to upgrade them by using Sigmarite ores you collect during each level you complete. As a stage completion bonus or from a chest, you place your weapon of choice on an anvil. Select the ability you'd like upgraded, the magic you'd like to unlock, and then start banging away. You also start out with the Arcane Bolts ability, which proves very useful once you learn how to mix things up between the bolt, your melee attacks, and the magical abilities you unlock for each weapon. You're only able to take one weapon into the trials, unlike the campaign, where you're able to have all 3 and switch them up on the fly. So a successful run is highly dependent on wise choices, a good strategic approach. Each run, in true roguelite fashion, is procedurally generated. The levels themselves aren't randomly created, but they are randomly chosen, with maybe the exception of the first level. I believe that one is always the same, but the enemies you face in each are not. And by this I mean, you do fight only a small variety of enemies, but they will come at you in varied numbers and combinations. As you go through these levels, in your early trials, your ether, which is your magical energy, regenerates with each kill, while your HP does not. If it does, I didn't notice this happening, but all this can change as you progress. At the end of each run, a chest appears and pops open. You can choose from this chest a passive ability, lesser or greater Sigmarite ores, which is like I said the game's currency, or you can choose health. And this is where things start to get interesting. Passive abilities is where Storm Trials begin to shine. These passives give you temporary skill buffs. You may choose one that makes your health deplete gradually, but fully replenishes after each kill, which encourages a more bloodthirsty approach to battle. You may have another which drains some of your ether, but levels up your melee attacks and so on. And there's more. These passive abilities are stackable. I didn't realize this at first, so it's up to you to choose wisely. You can also stack the same passives, so each time you choose it, it multiplies. One thing I'm not certain about regarding these stacks though, is how opposites affect each other. Conflicting passives. Let's say I choose a passive which allows my health to gradually recover over time, and I choose one that makes it gradually deplete. I'm not sure how that works, but I suspect I will figure it out in time. Also, your passives being only temporary, they go away after death. Again, in the vein of roguelites and likes, this is expected. We do have this thing called Celestium though. After defeating your first boss, you will receive your first Celestium. Yeah, these rare items aren't as easy to come by as Sigmarite ores, but once you get these, you'll unlock another section of the hub which allows you to permanently upgrade your health, magic damage, melee damage, and health regeneration. As in any roguelike or light experience, the difficulty ramps up progressively, but the longer you stick it out, you'll see your persistence paying off. Once you die, you'll always start at the beginning with all your passive abilities reset, but unlocking and upgrading all the weapons, finding one that suits your playstyle, and getting enough Celestium to permanently upgrade your warrior will have you feeling like an unstoppable force of nature in no time. And this is the appeal of roguelikes and lights, an appeal I've only now come to appreciate, all thanks to Warhammer Age of Sigmar Tempestfall's Storm Trials mode. The only thing that I found that I could consider a flaw here is a particular set of gesture-based actions. Only one set, the actions which require an upward motion. These failed me more times than they didn't. And while the gestures in the Rift version were not perfect, it feels harder to do these specific actions here, and I find that odd, as all the other gesture-based actions work like a charm. I've never streamed before. Quite a few people suggested this to me, and while I'm still apprehensive, I think Storm Trials will be just the thing to bring me out of that shell. Yeah, I think I'll start my streaming adventures here. Great work, Carbon Studio. I am impressed. Thank you for watching. If you like my content, feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Let's say I found a way to piss you off with this one though. Then we all know where to find those hate buttons, don't we? Either way, I won't hold it against you. Our game is never over.